Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hoops, Helmets, and Heels, episode 5. This is Rachel the Dime Diva. Are you ready to talk some sports? So, I have a special treat for you guys today. I decided this past week, in honor of the start of the MLB season, that I would rank my top 5 Major League Baseball caps. And in doing so, in order to rank them, I would choose to rank them based on attractiveness of the man wearing them. So I scoured the internet for pictures of attractive men, in my opinion, wearing these caps, these baseball caps. And so we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and reveal my top 5 uh, MLB hats. So, first, I did promise you guys last week that I would give you an update on my dinner last Sunday. So I ended up going to Somerville, which is the new restaurant on Slauson in Los Angeles, and it is co-owned by the actress and producer Issa Rae, and it was fabulous. I would highly recommend for anyone who is in the Los Angeles area. My friend and I split the filet mignon, macaroni and cheese, Brussels sprouts. We had some French 75 cocktails. It was an amazing night. So I would highly recommend it for anyone. And funny enough, yesterday I went to Lost, which is a rooftop bar in downtown LA. And Issa Rae is also a um, contributor to that as well in terms of being on ownership. So she's definitely expanding throughout Los Angeles and upping her ownership game big time. So I'm very happy to see that for her. So transitioning back to the baseball element, growing up for me as a millennial, growing up in the 2000s, a huge part of culture and the style and fashion during that time was wearing fitted caps. So like the baseball caps, but they would typically have like a flatter brim and be a little bit more stylized. Sometimes they would have different colorways than the traditional team logo. And so that's something that has always been close to my heart. I've always enjoyed seeing men wearing hats. I think that it's very attractive. Now, an interesting phenomenon that I've been seeing as my contemporaries get closer to their 40s, as the men get into their 30s and up into the 40s, is a phenomenon that's called hat fishing. So I don't know if you've heard of the concept of catfishing, which is when people go online and they pretend to be someone else by using another person's profile picture, impersonating someone. It's a pretty common phenomenon, and they have a TV show that covers this. So hat fishing is a phrase that was made up to talk about men who have like a receding hairline or no hair or whatever, and they wear hats, and it masks the lack of a hairline and makes them look more attractive. So there's a new thing where like women are pushing back on men saying like, oh, we need to see you without makeup to know if you're really pretty. And women are saying, okay, well, we need to see you without a hat to know are you really handsome. So that's an interesting element of baseball caps in millennial culture, at least. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to go 5 through 1 and then share with you my take on the best MLB caps, baseball caps. Okay, so coming in at number 5, we have the New York Yankees, and they are being represented in the handsomeness category by Yankee player Aaron Judge. So I think Aaron Judge is a handsome guy, but he also gets a lot of points as well because he was on a tandem. He was on a team with the Yankees in tandem with Giancarlo Stanton. And so this was like a duo of like light-skinned, tall, handsome men. I don't even know if they're both on the team anymore, but it was definitely like a 1-2 punch, and it increased the attractiveness level. So, I mean, the Yankee fitted cap is pretty iconic in culture. I mean, you see Jay-Z wearing his Yankees hat. You see a lot of different, even people on the West Coast wearing the Yankees hat. And it does help because it has this kind of very classic color scheme, and it looks very clean. It has clean lines. So I think this is a really a strong pick, a strong submission to the top 5. And I feel like this is one of the most iconic and recognizable hats for folks that even don't follow baseball. They know that this NY stands for the Yankees. So coming in at number 5, represented by Aaron Judge, is the New York Yankees. Okay, so this one is interesting. Number 4. Coming in at number 4 is the Chicago White Sox, as represented by former United States President Barack Obama. So no disrespect to Michelle or, or President Obama, because I believe he's one of the best presidents that we've had. But he is a handsome man. So I put him at number 4 to represent the White Sox. And of course, we know that Obama is from Chicago. He represents the White Sox. The White Sox are more so on the south side of Chicago, whereas the Cubs are on the north side of Chicago. So President Obama typically represents for the White Sox. Now, this is a little bit more of a niche cap. You don't really see it around all the time, but it has several different colorways, but typically the White Sox colors are white and black. And so anything that gives you the white and black option is going to be popular with folks in fashion, because that's giving you a lot of opportunities to mix and match with outfits or whatever the case may be. I did think about including the Cubs in this because their hat is pretty iconic. Their baseball cap is pretty recognizable. However, as someone who did live in Chicago for about 3 to 6 months when I was in my 20s, I was way more in love with the South Side, honestly. Like, yes, the North Side was good for shopping and hanging out and going to get my nails done and getting massages and such. But the South Side had so much rich history. I remember going to this spoken word event down there, and everyone was really like confused as to what I was doing there. Like, but they were very welcoming and very nice. They just wanted to make sure that I was in the right place and like, are you okay? But I will always represent more so for the South Side of Chicago. And of course, we have President Obama, representing the handsomeness category, number 4. And moving on from there. Okay. So the next cap that I chose is kind of a sleeper hit, but once you see it, I think you're going to understand why I'm choosing it. And this is the Cincinnati Reds fitted cap. And this is represented in handsomeness by NFL linebacker EJ Speed. So let's talk about the cap first, and then we'll go into EJ. So the Cincinnati Reds cap, it's recognizable. It has this red background. It has the white C on it, and it goes with a lot of different outfits. So I've seen people in LA wear it. I've seen a lot of podcasters. I watch a lot of podcasts on YouTube and such, and I've seen a lot of the men wear Cincinnati Reds fitted caps. And there's just something about that really vibrant red color on brown skin in particular, whether it be dark brown or light brown, that really just pops. It looks awesome. And so that's something that made that a sleeper hit for me and actually put it above the Yankees and White Sox, even though those are more probably well-known teams. So EJ actually is one of the reasons that I put the Cincinnati Reds cap on my radar, because I didn't really know what this symbol was. But a few months ago, I started watching the podcast that EJ does with Zaire Franklin. So they're both linebackers on the Indianapolis Colts. And EJ was just signed with the Houston Texans. And so I'm wondering, is the Trenches podcast still going to continue? I hope so. Maybe they can do it virtually, or I don't know. But nevertheless, the Trenches podcast, where EJ was a host, one of the first episodes I ever watched, I saw him wearing this cap. And when I first saw him, I was like, oh, this is a extremely good looking guy. I personally, for me, he's in my top of the most handsome current NFL players, period. Jawline is great, just handsome, and a great personality. And so I looked up red baseball cap, on Google. And I figured out that this is the Cincinnati Reds. So it was because of EJ that I even know about the Cincinnati Reds, because I don't really watch Reds games like that. I don't even know if they're in the same league as the Dodgers, which is the team that I typically watch. So thank you to EJ for showing me what this cap was. However, I have seen lots of guys wear this cap, and whenever I see it, I always feel like it looks great on them. And funny enough, I did post on my Threads account maybe a month or two ago, not even knowing I was going to do this episode. I posted on my Threads account that I just saw a fine man in a Cincinnati Reds fitted cap, and it made my whole day. And it's true. I did. So I guess I was kind of foreshadowing that I would be doing this ranking episode for baseball caps for Major League Baseball. Okay. So let's go to number 2 in, iconicness of the cap and handsomeness factor. So we're going to go with number 2, Washington Nationals. And the representative for the Washington Nationals is Michael B. Jordan. All right. So Michael B. Jordan, as we all know, one of the most handsome actors out right now. He was named People's Sexiest Man Alive at some point recently. He had this whirlwind romance with Lori Harvey, who is Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. She is Marjorie Harvey, Steve Harvey's wife. He's Marjorie Harvey's daughter, and Lori is iconic. She now dates Damson Idris. So Michael B. Jordan really, really stole my heart with the Creed movies. Okay, so at the time when Creed came out, I was married, and I went to see Creed with my husband, and I was just like, I really wish that I wasn't here with you, because I feel so guilty, because my mind is just ooh, Michael B. Jordan looks amazing. But now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it doesn't make you love your spouse any less that you recognize that another person is attractive. That's not the sign of love, right? And so, ever since Creed, Michael B. Jordan has been on my radar as, to me, Hollywood's most handsome actor. So he's coming in at number 2. As far as the Washington Nationals, this team is pretty popular nationwide. They're a pretty well known. They had Bryce Harper, and that was he was all over the news with the Nationals for a 5-year span or so. This is a different colorway. They also have one that's more of a team colors. And interesting enough, Michael B. Jordan, I found several pictures of him wearing the Washington Nationals cap, which makes me wonder, is he a Nationals fan? Is he from the DMV? That's something that I'll have to look up for my own curiosity. But I think the hat looks great on him. I think the Washington Nationals hat is stylish. I like the stylized W. This is a hat that I knew, uh, like upon sight, right? Like you can tell this is the Washington Nationals. You know what team it's referring to. I always like a cursive stylized letter. I think it looks classy and fancy. So coming in at number 2, Mr. Michael B. Jordan wearing his Washington Nationals fitted cap. Okay, so number 1, you know me. I already told y'all in my lore, my first episode of Hoops, Helmets, and Heels, that I was a Dodgers fan through and through. So you know the number 1 Major League Baseball cap is going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. And who better to represent for the Dodgers than our angel, former Los Angeles Laker, NBA Hall of Famer, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to Kobe. We love you. So Kobe himself is a extremely handsome man. Interesting story on my part is that I grew up having my own room, which is a blessing and a privilege. And so I had a series of different posters and photos in my room of different celebrities. And I had a big poster of Kobe Bryant in my room with his big afro, posing at the Getty Center. So that's something that I'll always remember. My sister, Courtney, always said that Kobe looked like some type of exotic, you know, tiger or puma or something, like the intensity in his eyes and also just like the sharpness of his features. So I can kind of see that. And then I'll also never forget when he came out with his black mamba, and then he would do his facial expression where he would like he would jut out the bottom chin in order to make like that very intimidating face. So rest in peace, Kobe. You brought us many, many, many great memories and blessings. Also, the number 1, the Dodger cap is number 1 for me, not just because of Kobe, not just because I'm from LA, but like this cap is extremely recognizable and extremely iconic. Like I in my travels around the US, I've seen lots of people wearing Dodger hats. It's something that I've seen folks from all over the country wearing. And then the LA is similar to the New York with the Yankees, where like you automatically know what this is talking about when you see that LA logo. And I also love the Dodgers colors. Honestly, I think they're so clean. You know, the Dodger blue, that's one of Kendrick Lamar's recent songs from his album. But the Dodger blue is very recognizable, very noticeable. It's a gorgeous, like royal blue kind of color. And so I think that that is ultimately my top number 1 MLB cap, and our number 1 most handsome, Kobe Bryant. So next week, I want to get more into like the history of the caps, the social significance of baseball caps in culture. And so we'll continue this on next week with more details on the MLB. Thanks for watching. Bye.